Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm actually not going to talk about trash. I'm just going to talk about what I do. But I have to apologize because I've never tried to condense all that I do into 6 minutes. And when I was very little, my mother would say, stay on target, stay on target. And even now, I'm 50 years old, and I still hear my mother in the background, stay on target, stay on target. So please forgive me. I do have to look at my notes, all right? I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah. I am sanctioned by the sovereign state of Turkey, the owner of the Garbage Ladies Limited Company. I own the Çok Madam logo. For those of you who don't know Turkish so well, Çok Madam means the Garbage Ladies. We are a company, as there is no non-for-profit status in Turkey, but we actually are trying to be a development program. In order for our ladies to be paid, we have to be a full-fledged tax-paying business. My dear friend and business partner, Melly, is the only man in this endeavor that is set up for women who have never worked for salary before. People say, oh, it's the first time they're working. I say, no, 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 no. It's the first time they're working for pay, which is a very important differentiation. We make mostly useful, but always very cool items out of throwaway materials. It's not always recycled. It's trash. It's garbage. What we use, if we don't use it, would otherwise end up in a landfill. Our name is a play on words because we want to get people's attention in a way that is at first fun and then poignant. It can be very boring if I just stand up here and talk about, let's say, the status of women in Turkey, or let's say the environmental issues in Turkey. You would be bored, so would I. So we get you to focus on the situation without you knowing it, and then we sell your trash back to you. For 10 years, I earned my living trying to empower others to participate in civil society here in Turkey. Actually, our students had little choice in all this because it was a curricular program. But we tried, as a dear friend and colleague of mine said, to teach them how to love what they do. I was very, yeah, at the end of the day, we were trying to teach students to give a damn. If there's a heaven, I do believe I will go, not because of what I do, but because I spent most of my professional life working with freshmen. But after 10 years of running a program in civic participation here, I needed a change. But there's more. I knew that I myself was not always walking the walk. I would listen to myself telling our students to work within the existing system for change, but I myself was entrenched in a system that was very familiar, hence comfortable. I was the first country rep for Ashoka. If you don't know it, it's a program that supports social entrepreneurs. So I myself had a very visible role in the beginning of the visible social entrepreneurial movement. But I myself did not feel that I was being socially entrepreneurial enough. I was not able to get out of my own proverbial box, as it were, even though I was trying to encourage others to do so. I was pushing burnout, but too stubborn to just throw in the towel. I wanted to stay in civil society, and I wanted to stay in Turkey. I knew that I had a lot of years of experience to build on, still have a lot of energy, and I was not about to give up my belief that life could be better for more people, especially those who started out with fewer opportunities. Being able to live in dignity was still a driving force in much of what I did, but at the end of the day, it was me, who needed a change. And change is what I brought on, still bringing on, creating it from the bottom up within an existing structure, all the while allowing myself to have a lifestyle that was welcome. Did I mention this? If you don't know, I live in Ayvalık, which is a great place to live. In the process of trying to bring change to others, I was bringing change to myself. At the age of 16, I stopped eating meat. In part of what I had to learn about being a vegetarian to convince my mother that I could still eat very healthy without eating the dead animals. I learned a lot about the negative impact that we as individuals could have on the environment. Since then, I have, in mostly insignificant ways, been very stubborn about environmental responsibility. But our environmental projects at the university were always very popular, but I can't say that they were ever very successful or had much of an impact. But at the end of the day, I was tired. I was tired of always fighting, tired of trying to get people to see that there was no need to use so many plastic bags, which clearly there's a love affair within this country. But I needed to find a different way to express myself. I needed to find a different way to try to do what it was that I wanted to do. My entry into civil society here in Turkey was actually through the women's movement. I was an NGO rep to Beijing +5, but I felt that there was still too much missing at a very fundamental level to the women's organizations that I was connected with here in Istanbul. I don't come from the feminist movement. I don't come from the women's movement. Many years ago, I was teaching in Eskişehir, and a female colleague of mine said that she had learned so much from me, and I thought, I really don't have a lot that you can learn from. And she said, no, you walk home by yourself at night. And from that, I understood that we have a lot, those of us who come from larger privilege, but basically a perspective of independence and self-confidence, have a lot to show others just by example. Going back to the men on a different level, many women in Turkey clean their houses each and every day from top to bottom. Their own home is where they feel most comfortable, where they have their identity. They are a mother, a wife, a cook. They keep things orderly and neat. Many of them have never seen themselves in any other role. There are some women, many women, who may have liked to have, quote unquote, become somebody, who either bowed to family pressure to not go on because their role would be a mother, a cook, a cleaner. Many of them lack the self-confidence to do any more than finish elementary school, which I still say recently, it's not so recently, used to be only 5 years education. But I started thinking, what if there were an opportunity to do something that was just slightly unfamiliar, but working with the basis of skills they already had within a setting that was non-threatening, allowing for their current reality and not forcing them to make major changes. Do you remember a few years back, I keep saying a few years back, I think it's more than 10 years now. There'd be a picture, for the Turkish audience and people who lived here for a long time, they'd be in the local newspapers. I mean, there'd be one image and you look closer and there'd be another image that would come out, if you could figure it out. After about a year of trying to come up with something different, I felt that I was lying in bed one morning trying to get up. And I just felt that all the pictures of the puzzle were becoming clear. They were falling into place. I could address poverty head on. I could try to raise environmental awareness and actually have an impact on individual behavior. I could try to elevate the status of women, and I could have fun in the process. I decided that I would work within the existing system because I was so tired of fighting everything. I said, let's go with the flow. But working within the existing system meant appealing to where we women, who are the money spenders on things, spend most of our money, which is accessories, little doodads. I used my experience of nearly 20 years of living in Turkey to set up what we hope will be a model to be copied for other development projects, but not our bag sleeves. We are mostly bag ladies. I wanted to make sure that I did as much as from the very beginning to ensure possibilities for success, because everything that we do actually threatens to wreck the status quo. Our workshop is at Four Corners. I don't know any of you who know Ayvalık or know small towns in Turkey. We are a traditional part of Ayvalık, and we represent the status of women because we have 25%, so we have 1/4, and we have male businesses on all the other sides, on all the other corners, as well as the rest of the neighborhood. They are all very supportive of us. We owe a lot to the men. I had been going to Ayvalık for many years. I bought my house there, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. So I didn't know my neighbors so well. I wasn't necessarily so friendly with them, but they knew I wasn't a bad person, and we had had a type of interaction. So I say this because people say, how did you start this? How could you come up with something? You can't start from nothing as an outsider, either as a Turkish person or as a foreigner. At the end of the day, Çok Madam may be my creation, but it's not about me nor my business partner. Yes, of course, we are behind it all. We make sure it keeps going. But we are facilitators, and we use our experience to empower and enable our ladies. Our workshop is their space. The focus is on them. If somebody were to ask me lessons learned, I would say first and foremost, try to look at something for what it is, not for what you want it to be. I thought I knew a lot about Çok Madam, but in fact I have learned so much more than our ladies have learned. My own challenges are greater than I anticipated, which sometimes makes me wonder just what I was anticipating in the beginning. The second lesson I would say is to really listen to yourself if you feel that you need to make a change. If you believe in it enough, you will do what is necessary to make it happen. But you have to be sincere because you cannot fake yourself out. If you really want it to work, you do have to believe in it from the very core. Excuse me. You need to acknowledge your strengths, and you need to acknowledge the strengths of those around you. You also need to acknowledge your weaknesses. Any of you firstborn female Leos out there know how difficult it is to let go, to let someone else be the expert, let someone else give you advice. It's very humbling to stop being so self-assured and so arrogant. It's also much easier to just let go, but it takes a lot of getting used to. I know. Lastly, I would say look at progress where it lies, not just where you expect to find it. For the ladies who work with us, it takes an awful lot of courage for them to cross the threshold for our workshop. Our median age is 40. And imagine for the first time in your life, you're actually going to earn some money, which means that somebody is going to praise you, but somebody is also going to criticize your work, which is probably the first time. It takes an awful lot of courage on their part. But a few months ago, I was wondering, are we really making a difference? We've only been in existence for 3 years, and I was wondering if we're really making a difference, if we're having any impact. And I was thinking, okay, we can measure our progress by bags sold, but that's not the only thing that I want to measure our progress by. And I overheard some of our ladies, both over 50 years old, talking about the bikinis that they were going to buy for the first time. And they were not going to buy them at the local market. They were going to buy them at a real shop, which meant spending real money. And this is impossible for women who would never think about spending that amount of money on themselves. If they're going to spend that amount of money, it would be number 1 on their children, number 2 on their husbands, number 3 on the family, but not on themselves. So I can't really put that into an official assessment scale because we are not a foundation, because we're a business. We're not eligible for funding where I would have to do that. But we know it is progress par excellence. And just in case you're wondering, these ladies went swimming every single Saturday this summer. I myself tried to stay sane by shutting off anything and everything to do with Çöpmadam. I have a large garden. It's my best therapy, partly because nobody asks me what time it is, but also because I'm not in control. I have to listen to somebody else. So my parting advice would be make sure that you make time for yourself and just be. Thank you very much.